in Dublin this weekend to attend the Men's World Cup qualifier between Ireland and Hungary that's taking place at the Aviva tomorrow night. Meanwhile, Labour MEP Aodhán Ó Ríordáin is set to lead a protest outside the stadium amid strained relations between the two countries over LGBTQ+ rights and EU policy. Aodhán Ó Ríordáin joins me now. You're welcome to the programme, Aodhán.
Hi.
Why do you say Viktor Orbán isn't welcome in Dublin?
Well, his politics aren't welcome. He's not going as a private citizen. He's not standing behind the goal. He's getting the full diplomatic suite of a welcome, if you like, to an international fixture, which I suppose is appropriate from the FAI's perspective, but from a Dublin perspective, and as a Dubliner, looking at his politics, he is the face of far-right activism across Europe. His administration in Hungary is clamping down on LGBTQ+ rights, as you've said. They're clamping down on the independence of the judiciary, on free press, and indeed he is Benjamin Netanyahu's greatest ally in the European Union, and indeed invited Netanyahu to Hungary, even though he's under an arrest warrant from the ICJ. So if he's going to Dublin, I think it's appropriate that people of Dublin will be aware of his politics, of the type of politician that he is. And I think he needs to come and then leave with a clear understanding that he's not welcome.
All right. I'm sure if Viktor Orbán was with us, he'd push back at some of those claims, perhaps. But let's get clarity on this. Is he an invited guest of the FAI, are you saying, or did he pay for his own ticket?
No, look, I mean, I understand it's a World Cup qualifier. There are diplomatic norms that football associations engage with. If a Prime Minister of a competing country wishes to attend, then the Football Association is under obligation to facilitate that. But, I mean, it's been said to me he's coming on a private visit. It's not a private visit. He'd be very much there as a diplomat in the stadium. And as Prime Minister of Hungary. So as he enters the stadium, we'll be there at 7 o'clock on the Shelburne Road at the entrance to the podium, entrance to the Lincoln Road, to ensure that people know that he's not welcome in Dublin.
All right. And this is the reason that you've decided to organise this protest outside the Aviva. If he's here in what's being described as a private capacity, he's not meeting with any Irish ministers, he's just attending the football. I mean, will this protest just, exaggerate his visit, turn it into what, you're saying? I mean, it's not a big diplomatic affair. He's going there as a football fan.
Well, what Hungary are doing, and there's quite a number of Irish activists, including people I know like Eddie McGuinness and Carl Hayden, who went over to Budapest in June because Viktor Orbán's government had effectively banned the Pride Parade. And what he's doing is effectively the leader or the iconic face of this far-right movement, which now has almost 200 MEPs in the European Parliament who are dragging us back to the past. He is a cohort of Trump. He's a cohort of Netanyahu, and he's somebody who is really bringing the European institutions into disrepute. So if he comes to Dublin and he's attending an international fixture as Prime Minister of Hungary, then it's important that those of us who feel strongly about LGBTQ+ rights, who feel strongly about the European Union and about the rule of law, about international law, will, in a responsible way, and we're not in any way trying to make football fans feel uncomfortable. The game should go ahead. People should go and enjoy it and cheer on the boys in green. But it's very important that that the people of Dublin will understand, and indeed that Viktor Orbán himself understands, that he is not welcome and his politics aren't welcome, and they will be resisted at every turn. Are you expecting big numbers at this protest, Aodhán? I don't know. I don't know, but I know there's a number of people who are concerned, obviously, about the Palestine issue who want to come along. I know that there's a wide range of LGBTQ+ activists who want to come. But it's not a part of the political event. It's anybody who has a feeling strongly about the European Union, about its direction, about the type of politics you want to see. I think it should come along. We're not trying to, as make anybody feel uncomfortable. People should attend. They should cheer on the lads. They should hope for an Irish victory. Do you think there's the bigger question about whether Ireland should play Hungary? I mean, do you take issue with the Irish team playing the Hungarian team, given the reservations? And it wouldn't be that you alone. It would be that many would have in the EU around Viktor Orbán. No, there's no international sanctions against Hungary. FIFA haven't any sanctions against them. This comes up now and again. when it comes to the issue of Israel. I know Basketball Ireland have had issues as well. It's a World Cup fixture. It has to be fulfilled. And if the Prime Minister of the competing country wants to attend, he needs to be facilitated. That is a diplomatic norm. I think what we have to take control of what we have control over, and what we have control over is the streets outside Leinster House and the streets outside Lansdowne Road. And I think we need to make sure that when Orbán is there and he attends the game, that everybody attending the game knows the reasons why we're uncomfortable with his attendance at the match. We're not trying to make the FAI feel uncomfortable or Irish fans feel uncomfortable. We just want to make him feel uncomfortable. And that his politics is not welcome. When he goes back to Hungary, he needs to have been made well aware that the people of Dublin reject him, his politics, his homophobia, his racism, his anti-immigrant rhetoric, and indeed his attempts to undermine the institutions of the European Union.
So the message will be very clear as far as you're concerned, that Viktor Orbán is not welcome. On the wider question then around sport and boycotting sport and the mix of politics and sport, you mentioned there about the basketball team and the upcoming fixture against Israel, in which the Irish team said they are going to play on. What would you say to that? Do you think that much should go ahead?
I think it's really unfortunate and unfair to place such emphasis on individual players and forcing them to make a decision. If the Basketball Ireland were to make a decision not to fulfil the fixture, obviously we would understand that and support that. But I think it actually goes wider to the organisational bodies of individual sports, that these countries need to be boycotted. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I know exactly what the treatment of South Africa was. They were ostracised from international sport, just as Russia are now, and that's appropriate. So
should they take that stand, the sporting organisations? No,
I'm not going to call on any sporting organisation to jeopardise the potential for an Irish team to further themselves in any particular direction, in any particular competition. I wouldn't call on them to do that. I would call on, though, the international oversight body of basketball to throw Israel out of any international competition, so it doesn't fall on individual sporting organisations or national bodies.
Doesn't someone have to take a stand? Like you're taking a stand, say, at this upcoming fixture tomorrow against the Hungarian Prime Minister's presence there. Doesn't that stand have to be taken somewhere along the line rather than leaving it up to the very top echelons of any organisation?
Well, that's why people are in positions of power and influence in order to make these decisions. Players are players. They do the best for their country. It's the responsibility of those who are in positions of power and authority over sporting organisations to make these calls. And that's why the Olympic Federation, FIFA, UEFA should be expelling Israel from international competition, just as they have done Russia, and as we did with South Africa in the past. I think it's to be honest, it's a cowardice at the top levels of these sporting organisations. It shouldn't filter down to the individual player. That's not fair. The individual player has enough on their plate to deal with, these decisions will be made easier for them if the decisions were made by other people. So expecting for a young athlete, 17, 18, 19 years of age, to have that sort of pressure on them, I think is unfair. It's the international oversight bodies who should be fulfilling these boycotts on these individual countries, and Israel absolutely should be one of them.
All right, Aodhán, before we let you go, on the presidential candidates, are you backing Catherine Connolly?
I'm supporting the party position. I was at the meeting that made the decision between the PLP and the National Executive Board of the Labour Party. She's the only candidate left in the field. And on that basis,
so what do you think of your party colleague Alan Kelly, who's come out voicing his opposition? It doesn't look good for Labour, does it?
I don't think it was the right thing to do. I wouldn't do it. I mean, in any workplace, regardless of where you work, if you're at a staff meeting and you make a decision, whether you argue within those four walls as to what your position is, and when the decision is taken, you go with it. So it would have been easier on everybody.
And has that been said to Alan Kelly? Have you and your colleagues said it to him?
Yeah, it has been. I think he knows that, and I know Ivana had a long conversation with him.
And how did that go down?
Well, look, the issues in the country at the moment are much bigger than what one individual Labour TD thinks about one presidential candidate. There's a fixation on it. There's a huge amount of things we're trying to deal with here. I'm trying to make a protest against, the lurch to the far right in the European Union tomorrow. There's issues around housing and homelessness.
Yeah, and we know, and there are plenty of issues, and we do know that. But there is a presidential race coming up, and Labour has given their full backing to Catherine Connolly, and then we have a senior member from within your own party saying, actually, completely wrong choice. What was Labour thinking? Was there much dissent at the meeting when Catherine was given the backing of Labour?
I wasn't. Sorry, what's the sense? I mean, you're asking me to tell you what was happening in a meeting.
I am.
That there's a reason why journalists aren't invited in. We're a political party. We have our discussions. We come up with decisions. We go with those decisions. I'm quite happy with that. I wouldn't have done what Alan did. It's not my style. That's his style. He did it. Fair enough. We move on. And we deal as we did today. I was in Nina today chatting to Alan about housing and homelessness. That's the kind of thing that we really want to be focusing on. What an individual TD says about an individual presidential candidate is not going to affect most people's lives in a positive way. So I think we need to focus on those things.
Okay, there we leave it. Labour MEP Aodhán Ó Ríordáin, thank you.